Hey everybody, Steph here. This is my 10 months on testosterone update. So, hi. Yeah, I think this past month, something I've been really kind of thinking a lot about is, uh, is like mental health and transitioning and how, I guess, like the relationship to emotions has changed for me. So in the past, um, before transitioning, I think like when I had experienced negative emotion or any emotion really, like it was much more of a verbal, um, like the way I experienced that was much more of like a chatter in my own mind. Like, this is upsetting to me. This, this makes me really happy. Like that sort of verbal brain voice thing. And now it feels a little bit more like it's really hard to put my finger on, and that's partially why it's been a challenge to adapt to, just because it's hard to put the words to, okay, this is why it feels different, and this is then how I can sort of adjust my way of thinking about it, if that makes sense. Um, but yeah, it feels just more like a state of mind. Like, um, it's a little bit more. It feels like more visual in my mind rather than verbal, if that makes sense. It's so weird. Yeah, it's just different, and I think that's maybe just worth mentioning because um, for those like with mental health issues, or I don't necessarily want to call it issues, but just if you know that you struggle with strong emotions sometimes, um, when for me, when my relationship to my emotions changed, it became a little bit more difficult to gauge like how to healthily express that. Um, And actually, overall, I think I've done a better job of doing things in a healthy way in general. Uh, But I also sort of attribute that to um, just like being a little bit older and my like meditation practice and having had like 2 years of therapy prior to transition. So anyway, I don't really know where to necessarily place the quote unquote like blame for um, why it has been healthier, even though it's been more difficult. Um, but I think you know, I don't know. There's probably a lot of factors. But anyway, so that's been one thing I've been thinking about this month. Um, in addition to that, yeah, I kind of feel like the increased dose of testosterone has really like I've been seeing more and more changes, so I think that was really helpful actually. Just like, might be common for this time of transition anyway, but just, a lot more hair, including like facial hair, getting like a little bit of a mustache. It's still, it's definitely still like kind of trash stash-y, but, um, but it's there nonetheless. Um, my muscles, like I definitely feel like I'm getting bigger and broader, and I've been going to the gym a bit too, so it's been really feeling great. Yeah, I actually did. So prior to transitioning, I was going to the gym a lot, and I was keeping pretty detailed notes about my body composition. I have a scale where I can kind of see. It kind of measures like body fat percentage, muscle percentage, like all this stuff, right? So at the peak of working out pre-transition, I had recorded all of those numbers. Now, before I started going back to the gym, like as of recently, I did another body composition test just to see what my like starting was, and literally my muscle percentage was up a few percents, and my body, weirdly, like my body fat percentage was actually down a few percents from my peak pre-transition. So before going to the gym or anything, I was already had like more muscle mass than I did when I was going to the gym every day before, which is crazy because I hadn't done anything really at the gym or any like weightlifting or anything. So it's just like, yeah, kind of, yeah, it was kind of bizarre. But now, yeah, so now I've been trying to go to the gym like at least 3 times a week to do muscle training stuff and some cardio, to try and take care of the heart too. But yeah, I mean, that's been feeling really, really good. And then finally, I don't want to make this video too long, but I kind of feel like this month was a long month, like a lot happened. One other thing I wanted to mention here is that I actually visited my parents. Now if you saw my very like first videos on this channel, you'll notice they were videos that were struggling. It was me struggling with coming out to my parents, because they're like really religious and stuff. So I actually went to go visit my parents, and it's the first time I've seen them since December. Back in December, there weren't really a lot of changes. Like, even my voice really hadn't dropped all that much. And so when I saw them this time, I knew it was going to be a thing, or I just knew that it was going to be a little bit different, because, like, it's a little bit more, it's a less, less able to be ignored these days. So, yeah, I went home, and actually it was a really positive experience. For the first time, actually, my mom acknowledged the fact that I date women, which was a really huge step. I came out to my mom, man, when I was in high school. Like, this is, at this point, 10 years ago, I came out to her as gay at the time. And since then, she's never verbalized or acknowledged the fact that I date women, and specifically I have a girlfriend that I've been with for 6 years. So it's just like, it was a really big step. And even though the conversation about that was, I struggle with this, it's hard for me, I'm not used to it, I'm trying, that whole thing just, yeah, it meant so much to me. And it is also really surprising. Like, I never really, I kind of thought it would always be just this thing that we don't talk about, you know. But I feel really glad that she felt like she could say that to me, and I feel really proud of myself for responding the way I did, which was, I didn't have, there was like not an ounce of like resentment in my heart for her. And I think in the past, I have felt like some serious resentment toward her for not being able to be this other way about it, for having it not be easy, you know. But anyway, I think it seems like there's been some growth in multiple fronts in my life from all people. So I guess we're all evolving, you know. Anyway, this video's long enough, I suppose, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you next month.